right. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Working Artist Podcast. My name is Gregory Agid, and we are joined by the great Darrian Douglas. What's up, Darrian? How you doing? Mr. Douglas, may I ask you to unmute, please?
Hey, sorry about that, y'all.
What's up? How are you?
It's amateur hour. Yeah, man, I'm good. I'm good. I'm excited about tonight. We got a very, very talented guy who happens to be the only repeat guest. So you know he a bad mother. Barry Stephenson coming tonight, and we're gonna check out a lot of his new record, Iconoclast.
And we
And
were just listening to the first track off of his new record.
yeah, there he is right there.
What's up, Mr. Barry? How are
Hey,
you?
I'm all right. How y'all doing?
Oh man, I'm great,
Wonderful.
man.
Who
Yeah, man.
that?
Good.
So I'm
Hey,
I'm pumped.
indeed, indeed. Yeah, man.
So I want to kind of get right into it, man, because people who know,
Yep.
they know, because people who listen to this podcast already know about you because you were one of the first guests on this podcast about almost 3 years ago.
Wow. Yeah, you've been working, man. You've been doing your thing. I saw you build it from like your bedroom to like some real lo-fi to look at you now, man. We're talking about your Keith Sweat lighting you got happening on. You know what I mean?
It's called
Absolutely, man.
progress. Progress. That's a good
Progress.
thing.
Indeed.
It's called
Come on,
progress.
y'all.
Moving forward, not backwards.
That's
That's
right.
right. That's right. So that song we just heard, like Greg said, was called Figgity Figgity Foom Foom. And
It's called Fitz Figgity Foom Foom.
Fitz Figgity Foom. I got it written right here. I can't even read. So what's that one all about, man?
um, that one is almost like a narcissistic song in the sense. My middle name is Fitzgerald, and
Yeah, that's right.
my Jamal Watson and Kyle Roussel and Calvin Johnson. When I was touring with Glen David Andrews, they thought it was funny to call me Fitz, and I was like, yeah, people call me that all the time. So the opening lick of the song is something that Jasmine Horn noticed I would always play during sound checks whenever we get to a new bass in a new city. I'd always play like ticket to do. She's like, you always play that. And I thought it was hilarious. I was like, that's true. I always do play that. Because I figure if a bass sounds good when you play that opening line, like
It's fine.
it's going to sound good for everything else I needed to do. So, yeah, I
Absolutely.
kind of wrote a tune around that and just, tried to portray my personality as much as possible in it.
That's what's up, man. You did it. You did that thing. It's funny that you say that, but because when I was listening to this record for the first time, I was like, dang, this is Barry. Like this really encompasses his whole personality, once
Oh,
you listen to
man.
the record through and through, because we play a lot of music together, or we used to before COVID.
Yeah.
And
Oof.
you can play, you got this thing where I was telling Shadi, I was like, I think Barry is a free jazz musician. And, yeah, and not that you can't play in, because you can play way in, but you also can play way out, and then you can do them both at the same time. And I'm not sure anybody else can.
Man, it's funny. So Darrian and I have a connection. My bass teacher Rodney Jordan studied with his drum professor, the late great Alvin Fielder. Um, and Rodney would tell me that every Sunday he would go by Alvin's house in the morning, and he would stay there until dinner, breakfast,
right.
lunch, and dinner, and they'd be playing free, they'd be playing tunes, and he said Alvin Fielder's favorite drummer was Max Roach,
Mm-hmm.
and he told me that Max was actually a free drummer. If you ask Max Roach, he would say he's a free drummer.
Mhm.
So, like, I mean, with that kind of thought in mind, like we're all free if you're as free as you want to be, right? Nobody can
Mm-hmm.
take your freedom. So I
Absolutely.
feel like in a sense we're always free if we're really, really playing the music from its like core essence, like it's a free music. The music is freedom, you know what I mean? So
No, absolutely.
that's
Absolutely.
how I look at it.
Absolutely.
Man, that's kind of crazy that we again, like, I love interviewing all the people we've had on the podcast, because we start finding all these like connections that go beyond us knowing each other and knowing our mentors, knowing each other and hanging and things of
Yep.
that sort. And so
Yeah.
I did not realize you had that connection to Mr. Fielder. And that's
Yeah, when I met him, I told him, I was like, yeah, I studied with Rodney Jordan, and he got like really excited, and it was a deep moment to be able to say hello and take a photo and send it to Rodney, and
Yeah.
see, the music is an interesting thing, man. The community involved in it is like, it's a beautiful thing to be wrapped up in.
Absolutely,
a
man.
lot of beautiful people and personalities too.
Oh yeah, a lot of ugly ones too.
Oh man. So dig it. So iconoclast. So this is what I found out about because I didn't really know the meaning. It's a person who attacks cherished beliefs or institutions.
Yeah,
And
like yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
No, no, go ahead, go. You got it.
I'm just trying to figure out why did you name it that, and how do you tie that meaning into what you're doing with your music?
Yeah, so I guess the dictionary definition of it is someone basically who breaks idols in its simplest form. Is
Mm-hmm.
an idol being like kind of like an image, like say it could be like a cross or a swastika, like some kind of symbol that represents a thing, and the more modern like definition of it is kind of like someone who's a rugged individualist. And I thought about it as like just kind of going against the grain of what someone who looks like me is supposed to be producing artistically. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I know the same thing happens to you, Darren. You going through the airport, people are like, "So, are you guys like a rap group, or are you a basketball team?"
Right,
Like,
right.
it's never like whenever you tell them like you're jazz musicians or whatever, they're like, "Wow." So it's like, and then even with the notion of like what you know quote unquote jazz is supposed to sound like now, like people are either playing it sound like this, or they're saying they got to do this, or if you're swinging it's got to be straight down the middle and sound
Mm-hmm.
like a record. I was just like, what if I just swing like I swing? What
Hmm.
if I just play my music the way I hear it? And I think that coupled with the way I released the record, by myself and stuff like that, doing all the publishing, doing all that. It's not something most people aren't doing necessarily, but I feel like when you have all these gatekeepers that are kind of saying this is what's hip and this is what the thing is and this is what people are supposed to be doing, and you can take it and say, you know what, no, I'm going to find my fan base. I'm going to get these people. I'm going to get people to listen to my music without the gatekeepers having to be the final say. You know what I mean? And I think we live in a world where that's possible now. So just that kind of thinking of just going against the grain of how to put out music, what you should be putting out. I went into this record without actually rehearsing the band. What we would do, I kind of took this idea from Jameson when we did his second record. We would rehearse the tune and then play the tune. So like we would be fixing stuff, changing stuff on the fly, and then we would record. And then like um as opposed to like most people, they would get like all these very through composed charts, and it's like all this stuff is happening, this there and this is. I kind of was like, there's a one tune, one of my favorite tunes on the record, Pork is a Condiment, the sweet smell of freedom. The
Okay.
melody just repeats over and over and over and over, and then the
Hmm.
band, Jameson and I, kind of improvise with the soloist while another saxophonist is still playing the melody. And it kind of I mean, it's not that no one's doing that. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying I'm the only iconoclast there is. I think we're all iconoclasts in our own right. It's more of like, oh snap, like that's not what they told you to do in school.
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Right,
Like
right.
just that notion of like, play the music. You don't have to go back to the head. You know what I mean? Like you could just play this and move on,
Absolutely.
just, stuff like that.
Okay.
When you were talking about how you all were in the studio, kind of rehearsing the tunes and then working out arrangements and things of that sort, while before you actually laid down the track. I, Nicholas Payton was also working with y'all, producing the
Yeah.
record.
Yeah,
Uh,
we recorded it down in New Orleans. I'm sorry, go ahead, Greg.
but I was going to ask, there are a lot of things, and I was wondering, um, maybe like how, like on the Monk tune,
Mm.
like Memphis Swing and things like that, like how arranged, like how, like where was that? I guess that answers my question in a little bit, but like, where did you guys come in with that arrangement, or like, were you guys again? Was that something that happened on the fly? Was that something Nicholas suggested, and how did all those arrangements come about, and because you do such a great job of complimenting everyone's abilities and showcasing what they do well, and I was really amazed at that. So I was wondering how involved Nicholas was in the arrangements, and how you guys got all that.
Well, it kind of like, so I was saying we recorded the record in New Orleans at the Parlor Studio, because I wanted to, like, I love the sound of that space, and I wanted to the feeling of being in New Orleans is a whole different energy, as both of you know. Greg, you still down there, and Darrian having lived down there as well. Um, you know, going to New Orleans, and you know, Jameis and Ricardo were there. Nick was there, so that saved me some money. I didn't have to fly them up. I just had to come down with Patrick.
Right.
So everything, it wasn't like that I didn't have the arrangements in mind when I got there. I had everything fleshed out. It was just little particular details I wanted to on certain songs. It was a case by case basis, to be honest. Like Fitz Figgity Foom Foom is just a blues. I just told him what I wanted to do that with that in the shape of it, and we played. Jelly, which is the song after that, is a boogaloo, and they've completely tainted the term boogaloo now. But the boogaloo as we know it, and I had the vision of that song. The only thing that was wrong with that was Nick said the clave was wrong. He's like, I think you have because I was hearing more of like almost a song a la Sidewinder kind of vibe, right?
What's that tune? There's a Nick tune. It kind of reminded me of the groove on, was it Zigaboogaloo or something like that?
Yeah. Yeah. So what he told Nick was like, he's like, check this out, and he was like, you should play this groove, and it was the song that, funny enough, Darrian and I used to listen to this record all the time. There's a song called the Popeye.
Yeah.
The groove is, you know, a James Black groove called his version of the Boogaloo, and it hooked the whole thing up just like immediately. But then you know, songs like The Hump, some songs play themselves, you know what I mean? Like the arrangements were there, and I had like the hits and everything I wanted to do. But like a song like Bimpsha Swing, for instance, I had the groove and the feeling I wanted on it, and I knew what I wanted to play, and like I wanted to be kind of like a drone kind of thing, like we're like down there, like we're not gonna go through like I wanted to be more like a kind of like a reggaeton kind of like soca feel than like, you know what I mean? And with that I wanted to be more reminiscent, like less, not so much harmony moving the whole time. And then I also wanted the saxophonists to kind of like play off of each other and play off of the melody as well. And it was decided that we weren't going to go back to the head, so we were just going to play. So that was like one of them arrangements, like it was really all of us playing together and shaping after like it's kind of like everything. It was sketches, like a lot of sketches, like the one that Nick had a huge hand on. It was like he was so great in the studio in the sense of, as a producer, he was like a fly on the wall and only interjecting when it really was necessary. Evening Breezy, we were talking about that song earlier.
That's my jam.
Like that whole song, like I had the whole thing written out. It's just like everything is written out. There's no solo section on it really. There's just that second statement of the bridge where it's kind of like, you know, a hurricane happens, you know, is how I described it to the cats.
Man, why don't we go ahead and play that, man? That Evening Breezy. That's one of Greg's. Is it a baby making song or not?
No,
yeah, man. It's just like, I mean, the it could be whatever you want, you know. But the impetus is kind of like, you know, it's Evening Breezy, one in the air, you know. And
I love like the when you have like you're going for the trio sound, how like everyone is playing. I mean, essentially playing a line, and how, man, to me it just sounds like, you know, three beautiful melodies happening at the same time, and it's really a gorgeous tune.
Yeah, man. So Nick, like I said, Nick basically for this one, we were playing and he goes, yeah, you guys sound like, you know, studied musicians, like you've studied Ellington and, you know, blah, blah, blah. He's like, but I need you guys to sound like, you know, men of your generation.
Oh,
and deep. Like, and this was actually the hard, yeah. I'm sorry. I probably shouldn't be saying that out loud.
Hey, no,
it's all good.
It's all good.
We're here with the working artists. We got to talk about the work, you did.
Hey.
And so, you know, that song is actually probably the hardest one to record on the record. That has like the most takes of us just getting like the sound and the energy right, and then the parts, you know. But it's just two statements of the melody with the little, and then that's the song. It's based on September and the Rain. And I kind of, if you listen closely, there's a Motown classic that I kind of stole the bass line. I created the bass line with. If you guys can check that out, see which one you think it is.
Oh, that's killing.
In the comments, y'all, we're gonna play it right now. And if you hear that Motown bass line, Barry's gonna buy you dinner from McDonald's. So put it in the comments.
Nice. All right, here we go. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yeah, bro, that is a super killing tune that I really, really love.
Absolutely.
And one of the things that I think, tying back to the question what we were talking about earlier, is like, man, I think the way Patrick and Ricardo play, they play, they're so in tune with each other, and such amazing musicians themselves, that sometimes the line between where the arrangement starts and stops and where the improvisation kind of begins and ends becomes blurred to me. And I think it's a testament to the quality of the record, and also the quality of the musicianship throughout.
Yeah, Greg, I agree with you, man.
Man,
That was
appreciate it, man. Appreciate it. It's something my friend Chris Padishaw told me, the great pianist. He said, if anything, this record he's like, will be historic in that it brought together. It's the first meeting of Patrick Bartley and Ricardo Pascal.
Do they
who
not
were
know each
like,
other? Really?
they knew each other, but they had never played
Come on.
together.
Yeah.
They knew each other. Yeah,
wow.
and it's funny, like they're like just it's so funny how similar they are and like their approach to like not even music. Like music, they're just very, very sensitive musicians who are like very, very in tune with their environment. But personally, these cats are so deep. Like both of them are super like into computers and anime and like just like it was funny. Like watch it. I have some footage of them just hanging out during like in between tunes, and it was one of the most like beautiful sights to see. I was like, yeah, I knew this was gonna be a great hit, man. Like the two of them, and I knew the way they would play together was gonna be. I had this, I had the sound. They executed it perfectly. You know.
I remember when you posted about recording the record. I saw a Facebook post from a couple years ago, and I was like, Ricardo, this band, damn.
Yeah, man, you got got to get the cats who get what you want without much like talk about what needs to happen. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Man, the impact that that song had on me, or it continuously has on me actually every time I hear it, is deep, man, because I don't feel like you created that out of a selfish place. You know, like sometimes you go to a show and you hear music that's in 1511 and you know that that's from a selfish place. And it, you know, but the music you created it from a place of love and integrity. And so I like to say that there's two types of music. There's music for musicians, and then there's music for the people. And I think that that music was for the people.
Yeah, man. I mean, I typically try to play for people because I feel like the audience is like the fifth person in the band, so to speak. You know, like they're the ones who when you're not in the studio, when you're and you're not in COVID on live streams, the people, the energy of the crowd, whether it's good or bad, you feed off of it.
Right.
And
Absolutely.
you kind of play to that. So I'm always trying to create something. I mean, someone said we don't create music for it to exist in a vacuum. We create music for people to hear it. Now, whether or not you like what they say about it afterwards or how they experience it, that's subjective. But I think at the core, we all want people to hear our music. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I'm sorry. I'm chuckling because I'm looking at this comment, and the bass line did not by chance come from the Thong Song by Cisco, did
it might have been. But I don't think
somebody wrote that.
I don't think Cisco is on Motown though. That's the only thing.
See, listen, what
I love it.
you gotta learn to listen.
No, that's here. That's here. I'm all for that.
Barry with okay,
I'm
Barry's
all
with
for, I'm all for that. Yeah.
in my Jason Marcellus voice. Wrong.
It's funny though. Jason would know where that melody came from. It's actually not a bass line. It's
what is
the
it?
melody for the song "My Guy." Like no, it's
yeah.
Nice.
That song. That's a funny story. That came about. I was playing in Williamsburg at the Williamsburg Hotel with this vocalist Catherine Wood, and she called "September in the Rain" in D, and it was with this guitar player, and I was like, different keys make you hear different things on songs, and D is a very open key for the instrument. Like it, you got a lot of open strings. So I came up with this. I was just hearing that song, that melody in my head. So I came up with this bass line, and I was like, oh, snap. So I recorded it, and then I wrote a whole song on top of it.
Wow. Nice, man.
That's beautiful.
So that one, Evening Breezy, One in the Air.
Evening Breezy. I love it. Love it. Man, listen, I'm curious, man, because, why even make this music now? Why put this music out now during a pandemic? We all stuck at home. Why now? Why not save it for later when people can have more access to you on the road and stuff like that?
Well, as Greg said, I recorded the record a couple of years ago, and I completely self-financed everything. So just like my last record, it kind of takes a little time for these things to kind of come out. And, the pandemic I was planning on releasing it earlier in the year, and then obviously we're all stuck at home. So I was like, nah, not a good time. And then as it, progressed and, I'd had the record done, and I was like, man, I think, and everything that's going on with George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, Ahmaud Arbery, like everything that was going on, I was like, dang, like this music needs to be out now. The people need to hear this now. And, we're all at. It's funny, like although we can't get out and bring the music to people in concerts, people are actually at home with nothing to do, so they're actually in a prime position to listen right now. So it kind of worked out in a weird way.
Okay.
But I feel like when we're all out of this, the music's still gonna be vital. So
Absolutely.
it's just gonna pick up. Hopefully people are excited to see it after they've been listening to it for a while.
You know,
Yeah.
the music is a statement in and of itself, and it's a very powerful one. But before I even heard the music, I had seen the artwork from the record pop up on Facebook, and the artwork is also quite an incredible statement. And I really, what's the story behind the artwork, and how did you decide that was what the image you wanted to represent the music?
Well, so the artwork actually, the artist Patrick Dower, I kind of just stumbled across him on Instagram's search tab, right? And I saw this art, and I was like, "Oh, that's dope." So I clicked through, and I was like, "Oh, snap, this is a vibe." And I reached out to him, direct message or whatnot, and I was like, "Yeah, like I'd like to get you to do the artwork for my record." And so what he said was, "Send me a headshot and kind of give me." We talked about the theme of the record and what the music was about. I sent him a copy so he can listen to the music. And he's like, "Man," he's like, "I'm all about this." He gave me his time frame that he had, and he told me to also send him a couple of reference pieces of his that I like, that so he can work from that. And he just created this beautiful artwork, and I was like, when I saw it, I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I felt the same way y'all felt. Like most people, they're like, damn, same feeling. I was like, dang, bro. Like,
I saw it
hit
on
it.
Facebook and was like, what the I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Barry just piped the whole world. Like the whole, like I haven't seen, no, real talk, man. I know we're friends, but this ain't got nothing to do with that. This is just honesty. I haven't seen no artwork on that level from any musician. I can't ever. Like I was just like, yo, this is crazy. Yeah, it felt like that Obama painting. You know, the cat that did the Obama painting.
Yeah.
It was. It gave me that same vibe, and I saw that. I went to the museum to see that.
Man.
So I was
man,
like,
it was one of them things, man, where like we're children of of artwork. My dad was a DJ, so I have a lot of records that he gave me. But I always used to look through his CD collection and everything, and his tape collection. And the one thing you notice is I've always noticed great artwork, on records. And one of his favorite bands, two of his favorite bands, are Earth, Wind and Fire and Parliament Funkadelic.
Absolutely.
And those are some of the greatest covers in the game. I mean, bar none.
Yeah.
And I've, some of my favorite bands like the Mars Volta and, the RX Bandits, like their album artwork was always really, really captivating. So I wanted to create something where you would have there's like a marketing thing. You want to create something that people are like, dang, what's that? And they want to look and they want to find out more.
Yeah.
But I also wanted to capture the ethos of the record in a way to where you kind of visually see what I want you to hear.
Mm-hmm.
And kind of gives you like a visual guide, if you will, to the ethos of the album. But man, yeah, Patrick Dower,
Dower, y'all go check him out, man, because he's a thing.
Funny enough, man, he's a drummer. He's a drummer for now this is a real funny story.
He's a musician? Wow.
So there's this record by the there's this record by the East Bay Dub All Stars, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called, the record is called Dub Side of the Moon. It's all reggae covers of Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon. It's one of the greatest records ever. The way they do it is like, what? Peep that record. I used to listen to that record in undergrad, my freshman year, all the time.
Word.
It turns out this dude was the drummer on that record.
Wow.
And I was like, get out of here, bro. I was like, I used to listen. I was like, what was that session like? He's like, to be honest, I don't
you don't remember.
I mean, it's a reggae band. Yeah, you don't remember those kind of sessions. Man, I don't remember listening to it, but it's college.
On that vibe, I do want to listen, because we're getting close for the time. I do want to listen to another one of your tunes. And it's one of my favorite ones. It's called Jelly.
Jelly.
Yeah, it's for that jelly, baby.
You dig? You see, you already knew it. Then you throw this song. What's up, bro?
It's the Boogaloo.
Play the song, man.
Check it out. So I'm actually gonna share the artwork from the record too while we're listening to the new this Jelly track.
Perfect. Y'all dig it.
Cool. Let me get all this set up.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, Barry.
Yeah. See, that's what I'm talking about, bro. Keeping it funky. Yo, I literally just danced through that whole thing. I don't know about you, Greg. What you was doing?
I was
Appreciate it.
dancing. Yeah, of course I was dancing. You can't see me dancing over here.
Okay, all right. That thing
Man.
funky, man. I ain't
It's
lying. Hey, listen, if y'all listen to this right now on the podcast, on Apple Music or whatever, Facebook, do yourself a favor, go out to Bandcamp and buy Barry Stephenson's record. You can also check him out on Instagram and Facebook, and he'll give you the handles right about now.
Yeah, on Instagram it's at Pocket B, POCKETB, all one word. And on Twitter it's at Barry's Pocket. And yeah, Bandcamp, if you just type in my name, Barry Stephenson, you can get it. The record's also on Apple Music if you don't want to go the extra mile in supporting the artist for whatever
and
reason.
why is Bandcamp so special to artists?
Bandcamp is special because the money goes directly to the artist. It doesn't go through, it goes through PayPal through us. And obviously they take a fee just like a record store would take a fee. But you definitely see more of your money than buying it on iTunes, certainly from streaming it on Spotify or whatever. But, I understand some people there's convenience in buying music on Apple Music, so I get it. But you can just, buy it on Bandcamp and then download it on to your phone just like you do everything else. So,
I think the
yeah,
best way is to purchase it and then stream it, so you're getting double the
That's
income.
that's
right.
what Louis K was saying to me one day. I was like, "Yo, Louis, that's like some real marketing G shit right there, bro. Double dipping, baby." Yes,
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So this is Barry Stevenson. We have today on the Working Artist Project. Gregory Agid is my co-host with me, and we are checking out Barry's record, The Iconoclast. It's a one of a kind record. Everything about this record is amazing. The artwork and the music is simply superb. So do what he just said and dig it on all the platforms simultaneously, especially after you buy it. You know.
Yeah,
that's the
totally.
one. D, do we have, bro? Do we have some time to listen to this one track, bro? It's like my favorite track on the record.
Okay. Yeah. Let's
Well,
do it. Let's do it.
why don't we can close this out on that track? Is that okay with you?
Yeah. That's definitely fine.
Can I ask you a question? I just
You can ask me whatever,
because
Greg. What's up, bro?
what I think is super interesting too is like, again, like this is a modern record, 2020, but it still swings. And so I was wondering if you
Mhm.
could talk about the function of like why the record swings and how you can have a work of art that is modern and still swings, and what that means to you in the context of 2020.
Yeah, well, that was kind of one of the things is, there's always in our music, there's um, a battle between stuff that swings and stuff that doesn't. And it's like, there's the argument of, oh, if it doesn't swing, then it's not. And I'm not on that team. But one of the things in moving to New York and growing as an artist, I've had to develop, realize is you play your strengths, you know what I mean? And swinging hard is something I do. So I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make a record that was swinging hard as fuck, like that's
Absolutely.
I was like, that's what people expect. I mean, like people who hire me, that's what they hire me for, and that's what I do. And it's one of those things, as opposed to trying to chase what other people are doing, just doing, doing your vision, and not worrying about what everyone else is doing, but appreciating what everyone's doing and absorbing what you like and taking things here and there, but not necessarily feeling the need to have to swing in a way that proves I know how to swing. You know what I mean? Like, or someone saying, "Well, this is how you swing," and when nah, it wasn't that kind of feeling. It was more of a, this is a part of the things because we do play other grooves on the record, but it's there's a lot of swing on the record just because I really have fun swinging, and there's such a freedom and an elasticity in that rhythm that you know you get the same thing from drone music too, and like stuff where you have some kind of ostinato, that kind of stuff that takes you into a different spiritual place, kind of, which is like Evening Breezy. It's just a drone, Bimps just swing drones, this song I want to play at the end, it's really a meditation, a drone, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just kind of, I think some people I feel like who swing and who inspire me on a modern tip, like Jason Moran and the Bandwagon. Like they're swinging, but they're not like playing overt swing the whole time and like trying to prove they can swing. They just swinging their asses off, no matter what kind of groove they playing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
stuff like that. Just like having a lot of elasticity and buoyancy in the swing is important. So I wanted to capture that on the record.
Well, you did it, man. You did it and more.
Appreciate
So
it, man. Appreciate
let's
it.
let's get into this last tune, and maybe we'll come back and have another question or two, and then we'll wrap things up. Yeah.
All
Barry,
right.
what do you want to hear?
Pork is a condiment. The
Pork
sweet
is a
smell of
condiment.
freedom.
Oh yeah, I was checking
Yeah,
that
this
out.
this is the
Yeah.
one right here, y'all.
That's my favorite one.
Well, I was definitely dancing during that track. There's like that moment of man, I just hear like Dolphy and Mingus going at it, man.
Oh man, that's one of my favorite records of all time is
Said all the
Mingus
things you
Live
could
at
be.
Antibes.
Yeah,
That
all-
one, but the record Charles Mingus presents Charles Mingus. It's just
Bro.
him, Dolphy, Danny Richmond, Ted Curson.
Yeah, that's a special record, man. Oh, that
Yeah,
the
man.
all the things you could be if Sigmund Freud's wife was your mother. The way Dolphy plays on that is just like
Yeah, yeah. I mean that whole
everything,
record,
man.
yeah, bro. Dolphy that's like one of Patrick and I's common, bonds is Eric Dolphy. Like, I know he's a very controversial figure in terms of jazz saxophone. I feel like some people either hate him or they love him. There's no in betweens with Eric Dolphy. They're like, oh yeah, I kind of like that. No, it's you love it or you're like, fuck that dude.
Yeah. Well, we all love it, so it don't matter what nobody else think.
Yeah,
That's
man.
right.
How about that? We also love that tune. That tune was fucking amazing. The first time I heard it, it just blew me away. I was like, yo, this is crazy. I don't know if regular people can hear what Barry's playing on his bass, but it's insane,
Oh
yo.
man, thank you, bro.
Yeah,
Thank you,
dude.
bro.
Look,
Man.
man, before we get out of here, I do want to kind of, I like to touch on spirituality a little bit. And I'm just curious, like what role spirituality plays in the creation process of your music.
Well, for me, music is I guess the best sum it up. Johnny O'Neill told me that Art Blakey said to him, from the creator to the musician to the people, and
Mm-hmm.
so to the creator, the artist, to the people, and so like I feel like music is always like a form of worship, form of praise, getting into like that zone, healing through like whether it's like a harsh sound or a beautiful sound, like kind of always tapping into that spirit of you know that connects us all, which to me that's the essence of like God, is like
Yeah.
this connectivity between all of us, and like this oneness that we all have with the universe and with ourselves, and how we kind of tap into that. Even if, and I don't mean God isn't like the Christian God, I mean you can call it Allah, Buddha, whatever your faith is, but I just think that spirit is wrapped into like everything I create.
Yeah.
um Even if not intentional, it's just like I'm always so thankful for this gift of music, and to be able to do, we take it for granted because we do it all the time. Like you're like, oh yeah, write a song, like, oh okay, yeah, that's we do that. But then when you talk to like lay people about it, and they're like, man, I could never do this or that, and you're like,
Mm.
well, I couldn't do what you're doing. It's like, it's one of those things where you realize that everybody has their own gifts and their own talents, and just have to be thankful for those things because they could be stripped away from you at any given moment. You know what I mean? So
Oh, absolutely. The COVID has taught us all that in more ways than one.
Yeah,
yeah,
And
dude.
use your powers for good.
I'm glad you phrased it like that, from the creator to the vessel. Because I'm curious, like if you did meet the creator and you could ask the creator one question, what would it be?
Oh man, I would. I wouldn't have the audacity to ask him a question. I feel,
Wow.
or her a question. I would just be
It's
like,
definitely a woman.
yeah, definitely, 100%. That's why I corrected myself. Men don't create, women do. You dig what I'm
Yeah,
saying? Like,
absolutely.
but it's funny. My thought process on that was actually, I was a big Kevin Smith fan. So in high school, like one of my favorite movies in college also was Dogma. And they, at the end of the movie, it turns out like Alanis Morissette is playing God. You're like, what? God is a woman. And then it's like, I was like, yeah, that makes sense though. Maybe not Alanis Morissette. I don't think it's
Right.
God as a white woman, but
Isn't it
like,
ironic?
isn't it ironic? Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely.
But I feel like it's one of them things. Like I think the creator and spirit is like really like all of our viewpoints, whether you're for or against, you're agnostic, atheist, whatever. I think just that energy that we all put into that thing, that culmination of it is what I think is, God or
Mhm.
whatnot. So yeah, I think we can all tap into that spirit how we choose, and it's a beautiful thing when you can attach that to your music, because then I think your music has a deeper meaning than just some notes. You know what I mean? Like that's what helps me connect to the audience, is like that common thread that we all have, whether or not we recognize it. Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, man, I like to end it right there. It's 8 o'clock and we ran out of time. But
Yes,
once
indeed.
again, you guys are listening to the Working Artist Project. I'm Darrian Douglas, and we had the honor, the only repeat guest, to have Mr. Barry Stephenson with us today. And we got Mr. Gregory Agid over
What's up?
here
What's up?
as he's on the ones and twos. How about that?
Yes, indeed. The
Yo,
irony of that.
Barry, thank you so much for, first of all, coming on the podcast. Thank you so much for also creating this amazing record. Those of y'all just joining us, check out Barry Stevenson's new record called Iconoclast. Check it out on Bandcamp and all the streaming platforms online.
Man, before we go, Barry, can you just give everybody the links and stuff where they can come connect with you one more time, your website and all of that?
Yeah, my website is barrystevensonmusic.com. But the updated stuff is all going to be on Instagram at Pocket B. Twitter is where you're going to get the screaming in an empty platform kind of vibe. And that's at Barry's Pocket. And there's also this new initiative I'm doing. It's a co-op called Ampled, And what Ampled is it's like a DIY version of Patreon that's more artist friendly and music centric. And basically, subscribers can pay as little as $3 a month for exclusive content. Like I've already released some tracks that didn't make the record over there. Also, some behind the scenes footage and demos I'm working on and stuff like that that they only get. So that's ample.com. You type in Barry Stephenson and you'll find me.
Man, thank you so much, Barry, for coming on. I'm Darrian Douglas.
My name is Gregory Agid with the Working Artist Project, and y'all have a wonderful night.
Thanks for having me, y'all. Peace.
Thank you. Later.